Hello, this is Shantae with Brown Sugar Talks on Timeless Tuesday. And I don't think I have any real other things that inspired me except for myself. After I went through everything as far as trying to get my life together, just step by step of trying to get my life together as far as leaving East St. Louis and trying to rebuild who I was and what I was doing. After finding inspiration, after I became a teacher, it was just I had to figure out who I was and what I was doing. And I knew that, I already knew what it was. So it wasn't like I was finding myself or anything like that. It's just, then I wanted to share with others, but I shared it with the wrong people. But some of the right people too, because I had to think I wouldn't have became a teacher if I didn't get to the point where I was where somebody helped me do that. It probably would have took me longer. I probably would not have had a child, it was just a lot of stuff that just started to happen, and then all the a crumple of bad stuff started to happen. So it's just I was just stuck in this awful position. And so I guess the timeless part is just not good, the timeless part is what it is. And so now I get to the point where now I have to re-establish what it is that I would like for my life to look like, and who real friends are, and what how do I trust people and different things like that. And that's been the hardest part, because I trusted people and then I thought that they were friends, but then it feels because I don't talk to people anymore, it's almost why would I not want this person? And then it's I started to think about, well, what they did there was kind of iffy and not and questionable and all these different things, and why did they do it, and who was watching, and who's listening to me, and who's recording me, and who's giving out my information, and who's telling somebody to do this, and who, so then you start to look at the actions, even just thinking about all the people, if somebody, all the little nuances that they have or whatever, it's oh, well, I'm going to blame you for stuff that I've done. And it's well, I can't blame, I'm going to blame you because that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to blame you for every, for everything. And I don't know. It's I got to the point where I was okay, just okay. What do what you have to do so that you can live a good life, And I even started apologizing to people, even though I knew they did me wrong. It's okay, all right, I apologize to you because, you feel like you did the right thing, but I don't need to have that relationship anymore. And that's been the hurting part, is just trying to rebuild relationships, because I don't know, I feel at some point somebody's out there saying, well, you don't build a relationship with her because of this, because she's, and it's nope, I'm not that kind of person. What kind of person would say that to somebody? Unless that person was dangerous or mentally unsafe or whatever, because that's the whole thing. I've been around a lot of people that are mentally unsafe and would think, well, if you're helping me, then you're hurting me. So then it's okay, well, how can I help you, and then therefore I'm hurting you in some kind of way? I'm not perfect. Everything I suggest is not going to be the best answer, and I'm going to tell you that too. But at the same time, if I did not suggest it, you cannot go back and say, okay, well, she told me to do this and I did it and that. No, it's no, I did not tell you that. You did that because you wanted to. So, I don't know. I just that's the part where I'm just okay, so, Shantae, where are your friends? Why don't you have friends? If you're a good person, why don't you have friends? And it's well, why? What's the problem? Is there a problem? And then I think about it, it's no, it's not a problem. It's almost people create problems for you so they can see, okay, what are you going to do about it? So, recently my dad called. Well, we called my dad because we needed help with everything. And my dad's like, well, move back home. And it's like, but that isn't my home. And it's like, you can't tell your parent, okay, well, that isn't my home. He's like, well, come back home and I'll give you money to move. Just call me and tell me what it is that you need to do. And, I'll help you. And, and call me in 2 days. Just call me in 2 days and I'll get you help and all this stuff. And me and my son are like, yeah. My son's like, wait a minute. No, I don't want to go back there because it's not a good place. And I'm just like, but maybe we have to because we kind of need the help. And I don't want to, it's like, I want to make a transition in my life, And so then I started thinking like, maybe it's just better to suffer through like trying to make the transition than to go back there, because that's the whole reason I left in the first place, because everybody wasn't on the up and up. Everybody had their own agenda as far as like being a friend, as far as being a neighbor, as far as being anything in somebody's life. And so you just like, well, okay, I don't know, and when I went back, I was really just coming back to help. I wasn't coming back to like hurt anybody. It was just like, I almost wanted to just like, okay, well, how can I help you? But then it became where people, instead of them thinking, oh, well, maybe it's just a little help, they started thinking, well, let me use her for this situation, or let me use her for this, instead of, and then when bad things happen, it's still like, well, let's use her even more because now she may not understand what's going on. It's like, but yeah, I still do. I'm just, I'm just physically down. Mentally, I'm down too, but that doesn't give you the right to like try to walk over me in any situation. So as I kept going, I was like, well, as me and my son are thinking about it, I was like, wait a minute. It is better for us to stay here and suffer through it than to go back and have to rely on people that didn't want you there in the first place. Rely on people that have other issues going on, and my son would not have a safe place to be. And so it's like, okay, so now how does he rely on the people that I thought were safe for him, to now help him through anything? And it's like, okay, wait a minute, he's not going to be safe. And so he also was like, wait a minute, he recognized it too. Like, I cannot, like, no, I can't, like, I would love to go back and see everybody, but he's like, I don't want to live there because there's nothing there for us. And it's like, oh my God, this kid is like 9 years old and he's like really telling the fucking truth. Like, it's like the truth is the honest truth. Like, what is there for us and would it be better and all this different stuff. And it's like, well, even if you had other things there, could you make it? Even here I probably can't make it, but it's the fact of, but yes I can, but it's the fact that we gotta like push through to see what's gonna happen at the end of everything, because I really do need to try to find something else to do with my life, so I don't know. It is like now, if I would have, when I got back to Texas, I would have found a different type of job. Like I would have found something creative. And it was so many anxiety attacks. I had so many anxiety attacks based around me taking a job as a teacher and taking a job that was farther away from my house. And all of it just ended up being a big mess up anyway, because I'm still in a situation where somebody's still, it feels like somebody's sending kids in the classroom and people in the class. It's like, okay, all right, thank you for listening to my show. Thank you so much for listening, but you don't have to do that. Like it's like, I'm happy that you listen. Why not just say you listened instead of just always having a situation put in place or whatever, and so that's the part is like, please stop, because I don't know who's doing it and I don't know what it's for and I don't know what the end result is. And right now it seems like it's no end result, like somebody's just playing to be playing and people have allowed them to do so. I got put into a situation where like they knew that it was like me doing the work, and it's like, okay, well, you didn't do the work, so I'm gonna just tell you. It's like just stupid stuff, like stupid games that people play, and you just like, okay, I don't know what to tell you because I'm already stressed out. I already got like a long drive. I got a kid to feed. I got I gotta work other jobs to just make my ends meet. Like, y'all ain't worth it, and the kids ain't worth it either. It's like you just that's the point you get to. So I don't know. It's just I'm tired of playing games. It's like I really would like to be in a position where I'm creating something outside of being a teacher, and where I'm writing and giving my input and having a design place for myself, and all these different things for me and my son. And it's like that would actually make me happy. But at this point, I'm just still, it's like I'm dreading everything, and I don't know what to do. Even with the plan, it's like I don't know what to do. It's all I can do is apply and see what happens and build a portfolio and all that good stuff. But even with that, it's just, I still got to put my work inside the computer, and like, oh my God, it's just so much. So I just, right now I'm here, I'm doing my thing, and I guess that's it. I wish I had friends or family to be with or talk to or go through anything with. I really do. I wish that I had that. I wish the same thing for my son. But right now, that's my sad, just like, end all be all. It's like I have nobody. And I wish I had somebody, And that's not due to me. I could only do so much, but I can't accept everything. And so that's, I don't know if that's a bad thing or a good thing, but I can't accept everything. I can't accept abuse and talking down and negativity and always not being good enough or thinking I'm too much, or like it was always something. It was never like, or you not being yourself, or like I have no personality. Like my personality, just like I have no type of anything, like I have nothing is about me. It was just a lot, like just so much that that I can't accept. If you can't accept me for me, then who am I supposed to be? Like, am I supposed to be somebody else? Like, who else? Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do at this point. How do you think I'm supposed to act? So it's like, and I'm not that person that you keep thinking I am. So it's like, well, if that's not good enough, then hey, I don't know. Like, I don't think I need to be around you, because I'm not trying to prove myself to anybody. Like, I'm really not trying to be there. So, I don't know. I guess in this point, what I really wanted to stand out was I wanted to call and apologize to my dad. I was like, I'm going to call him. Like, I'm thinking, call and apologize to him because you asked him for help, and he wasn't able to give it to you, or he decided not to give it to you. So you should now apologize for whatever. And it's like, no, you don't have to. Like, you actually needed help. He actually was like, well, you waited too late, but he's the one that said call him in 2 days. So that's the thing. It's like, why would I always feel like I have to apologize for being a person that I am. And it's like, but you don't have to, Shantae. Like, you are okay as you are. Like, you have been through a lot, and you have had to understand a lot about other people. And even though I know, like, I didn't go through everything that I'm thinking about my other family members and like some of the stuff they went through, but I still endured a lot. So it's like, you cannot always feel bad about that. Like, you cannot always feel bad about saying something or feel like you owe something to somebody else, So, no, I guess today, oh my gosh, today is like another somber moment. But I'm doing okay. Like, I think I'm doing fine. I think I'm all right. And my dad tried to make me feel like I wasn't. He's like, well, you should have said something, and you could have done this, and I was like, whoa, I was like, man,